It's time for playoffs. After 2 weeks of rest and rejuvenation, 6 teams enter into battle. And we have 3 matches this weekend that showcase the best of the best that Europe has to offer. So without further ado, let's jump into the action as we strap on in, grab ourselves some garlic mayonnaise from a kebab that you had last night, and then just pour it into your sweet mouth. Let's do this thing. We start this off with Rogue versus Misfits in the best of 5. We looked at Rogue just as they finished their 9-0 spree in the round robin. And honestly, looking at that matchup, that was a big easy win for Rogue as they faced off against Misfits then. Misfits, however, have stepped up in the second half, and you have to look at the mid lane. VTO has been the big boy carry for this team, and we looked at Misfits and how VTO has been performing exceptionally. But he's going up against Larson, who is another big performer this year. Rogue have been matching Misfits in terms of strength across the Rift, and Malrang has been their big facilitator, and that's where I think the big difference between these two lineups. Malrang versus Zlatan. And gonna be brutally honest here, Misfits jungler has done fine this year, but it's Malrang who's been generating and affecting the map so heavily for Rogue, getting them leads in his very unique style. And that's where I think Misfits are gonna struggle, is tracking the jungler for Rogue. It is basically the playbook for Rogue is Malrang do things, and Misfits and certain teams had figured that out during the second half of the split, and why Rogue faltered, I would say. But Rogue bounced back in the last weeks of the split, and that's where I think the faith in this Rogue lineup has come back from. And personally, my score for this matchup is 3-2 to Rogue. Just because Rogue in best of 5s do tend to take it to the 5th game exceptionally a lot more than most teams. And Misfits aren't tested in playoffs, as are some of the players on Rogue, but as a whole, I would still favour the boys in blue over the Misfits here. Anyway, matchup 1 over and done with. Let's go into our second matchup. The Battle of the Old Guard has come early, as our opening round matchup in the upper bracket is G2 versus Fnatic. Wow, this is Christmas come early, as these two teams usually make it to the grand finals every year, but one of them's going to have to attempt to do it in the lower bracket this early on. And personally, this is a very hard matchup to predict. Both teams realistically have done very well. G2 kind of been the shock factor this year, as not many people expected them to make it into the top 4. They were sort of a 4th, 5th, 6th place squad at best, but they're up there and they're done exceptionally well. And Fnatic as a whole, everyone kind of expected them to be up there as one of the super teams of the LEC this year. But you kind of have to look at each lane individually. Top is where I think most of the action for G2 is going to be happening. We just broke down the G2 lineup as they faced off against Vitality. Their style is top side, and Fnatic style is bot side centric. So you've got two clashing styles, and both mid laners like to facilitate. Both love the TF pick, so don't expect that pick to get through draft, as both teams knowingly will be banning it out. Now, regardless of that, we have to then look at the bot side. Upset and Flakked, kind of two differing ADCs. Upset very aggressive, Flakked more reserved in how he plays. And then you look at the supports, the two most bloodthirstiest players on the support battle, as Targamas takes on Hylissang. Hylissang, candidate for MVP, No hands down about it. Targamas, if he is eligible, he would be Rookie of the Split. There's no doubt about that either. But this roster for G2, I think, will falter in playoffs. Yes, they probably have a lot more unique picks than Fnatic, who realistically, it's only Hylissang playing these more wackier picks. But G2 aren't tested, in my opinion, for best of fives. And their style is so bizarre, it may be the death of them. Regardless, I've gone with a Fnatic 3-2. It's going to be close. You cannot say a G2 versus Fnatic matchup is not going to be close, unless it's in the grand finals where G2 will 3-0 Fnatic. There's no doubt about that. Regardless, my predictions are 3-2 win to Fnatic. Let's move into our matchup of the week. And our match of the week is the Vitality Super Team versus the XL Dream. And you know, this matchup deserves the hype. Vitality and XL, I would say, have been on different courses. Vitality on the down, XL on the up. The stocks have been very different. But when it comes to playoff, it's a different caliber. And in a lower bracket matchup where every game counts as your last, you've got to realistically think, whom does a best of 5 favor? And personally, my heart is saying XL, give it to them, but my brain and what I'm going with is saying Vitality. I think it'll be close. Another 3-2. I can't say 3-1, but Vitality, I think with the caliber of players, their playoff hopes are a lot higher than what XL's are. Everyone just expects XL to get knocked out and give Vitality a matchup against Misfits or G2, if we're keeping with how my prediction would have gone, honestly. But as I say that, Vitality have been a bit coin flippy, and you have to realize they've been outdrafted or not invested enough into the topside map. They've been underutilizing Alfari. He is a weak side god, and he usually decimates lanes, and we see it in his stats. But they just don't utilize him enough, and they don't give him safety. And personally, when I say that, you then have to realize XL and Finn have kind of popped off this year, and that's a big thing to note, because that means that XL, in theory, if they get lucky in the top side, if they manage to beat out in the mid lane some of the strongest players that Vitality have in Perks and then self-made, you've got a chance. And XL, if they make it into the second round, I still feel they'll be knocked out. Let's be honest, second round, you're going to be up against either Misfits or G2, as I say. Yeah, that's a yikers. And personally, I still feel Vitality win, regardless of that. And they go into the second round against one of them teams. It's a bit more closer in terms of player strength and caliber. But playoffs, as I say, is a different beast, and it's why I want to look at this matchup as a whole, because XL are unproven in playoffs, whereas these Vitality players have the experience. They have won the league before, and you know of their history. Regardless of that, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the matches that's happening this weekend. And with that, we're going to end this off here. Thank you to Akita-san on Instagram for the images. Yet again, I'm thanking her throughout this season because she's done a lot for us. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a goddamn like down below. Subscribe if you're new to, if you want to. And I'll see you guys next time, where we will be looking at the matchup of the week. Peace out.